Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Nick's Tiers.
Tuesday edition because we are off the air tomorrow. So if you're new to the show or new to the tiers, we first must start with the eliminated group. These teams are eliminated from playoff contention. You see the newest team to the eliminated group, Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers. Someone should maybe tell Aaron his team's been eliminated, then maybe he'll let Jordan Love play. Also at the bottom of the tiers, the Texans are obviously terrible. That is a sad second to last group. The Broncos thought they were going to contend. The Cardinals thought they were going to contend. The Rams are the defending champions, and they are 3 of the 4 worst teams in the sport right now. All right, now to the teams that are still alive. This man deserves his own tier. He's the only royalty on the tiers. The prince that was promised, he gets his own tier.
Okay.
Hey, but did you know that the Jaguars are top 11 in the league in point differential, while also having a top 10 quarterback? Can't be eliminated.
Top 11?
Top 11. Well, they're 11th.
What,
all right,
4-7?
they're just not eliminated yet. I don't have a name. I don't have a place for them. They're not eliminated yet. All right, next group. 2 of these teams were in the go-away tier last week. Now they're in the still go-away tier. Listen, Washington, Patriots, and Falcons. You play boring football, and if you take a playoff spot, which you might, from an otherwise exciting team, everyone's going to be bummed out. I'm sure your fans are happy, but honestly, go away. Okay. Signs. You guys remember that movie? It was like really fun and exciting for the first like 2/3. And then at the end, you're like, the aliens are allergic to water? It all just fell apart. Well, Seahawks, Jets, Giants. Fun and exciting first 2/3 of the season. I worry it all might start falling apart right about now. I think the Mike White fairy dust is going to wear off. The Giants are already starting to falter, and that was a tough, bad loss for Seattle this week. Not the standings. Wildes, these are the tiers. What are they not?
They're not the standings.
They're not the standings. And the committee will not be bullied into artificially inflating the Vikings and the Titans based on their record, when we all know they have a very hard, not glass ceiling, but concrete ceiling with Kirk Cousins and Ryan Tannehill at the quarterback position. Disappointing but dangerous. The Ravens, the Chargers, and the Bucs. The Ravens are disappointing because they have 4 losses. All of them, they've been up by 9 or more in the second half. The Chargers are disappointing because they were supposed to be contending for the AFC title, and they're going to have to claw their way into the playoffs if they even get there. And the Bucs are somehow below 500. With that said, Greg, all 3 of these teams, because of their quarterback and because of the overall talent on the roster, would still be scary to play in the first round of the playoffs. I see you almost rolling your eyes, sir.
We can't keep doing this.
Doing what?
We can't keep disrespecting them. And I don't want to sound like I'm the #1 Vikings fan in the world, because I'm not. But you cannot continue to disrespect the Minnesota Vikings. The committee has not even taken into consideration the little slide envelope that I've tried to usher each and every one of them under the table. I can't even buy a vote for the Vikings.
Nope.
But let me tell you why you're disrespecting the Vikings. Because when you look at who you have above them and disappointing, the Bucs. And we're talking about what it's not, the standings, but we're going to talk about what it is with the Bucs, talking about projections. Oh, they have a quarterback that's scary. Let's see how scary they are. Can we put up this full screen, please? Like when you look at this, what's scary? What's scary is 23.8 points a game, not 18 points a game, hopefully if they get to that. When you look at what's scary, 8 times you scored over 23 points. That's the Vikings. How many times have your Bucs in that scary quarterback and offense done it? Once. Like, I don't even want to continue with the stats. The last thing I will say is your best 2 players offensively, they are not even on the same page. That's Tom Brady and Mike Evans.
These are all
But when you look at the Vikings, their top 2 players,
Justin Jefferson's left hand and his right hand.
It doesn't matter. When you look at him, he understands. Kirk Cousins understands. I got to get the ball to that guy. They're doing it, and they're doing it at a high clip. They got to be more respected by the committee. Please.
Let me so listen, the Vikings are going to win their division and might end up being, they could be the 2 seed, they might be the 3 seed, and the Bucs are going to win their division. I'm just curious. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, say, and you're right now projected to be the 5 seed, you think going into week 18, if they're like, oh boy, if you lose, you're going to fall to the 6 and have to go to Minnesota. But if you win, you get Tampa. You think they might rest some people? You think they might say, oh, you know what? We'll take that trip up to the snowy north and take on Kirk Cousins. I think teams will be more scared of Tampa.
So that's what this is about.
Well, it's
that's what the committee
disappointing
is.
but dangerous.
That's what the committee is doing now. It's about.
Listen,
okay.
talk to the committee members. Oh, I'm sorry, they've blocked you because bribery is frowned upon with the committee. Next, peak too early. Once upon a time, we called one of these teams September champs, and folks laughed. And they said, "Oh, you're biased, you're afraid," and now we're proven correct. Philadelphia, 7-0 at one point with a plus 76 point differential. Last 4 games, 3-1, pretty good with a plus 11 point differential. Hasn't looked dominant. Buffalo, 6-1 with a 105 positive point differential. Last 4, 2-2 with a plus 5 point differential. If the championship was awarded in Halloween, they'd be your Super Bowl. Unfortunately, it's awarded in February, and neither will be playing for it. Next, championship weekend. Anything short of the Final Four would be a major disappointment for both of these teams. The Bengals have a really interesting opportunity to say, hey, why is it the Chiefs AFC? Why isn't it our AFC? The Cowboys, on the other end, have an opportunity to make a conference championship game for the first time in a quarter century, as they have the longest drought in the NFC along with the Lions and Washington. And then the last two. The last 2 tiers. Number 1 Contender Bowl, live on Fox this weekend. Woo! 2 of the most complete teams in football who, oddly enough, both of them this offseason desperately wanted someone other than their current quarterback to be their current quarterback. But despite that, they are 2 of the best teams in football. And then, listen, it's beating a dead horse at this point. Dynastically dominant. Okay. This team beat the defending Super Bowl champs last weekend by 16 points, and nobody cared. Good. Okay, well, I'm just telling you exactly. You beat them by 16 points. It's boring. It's no good. Everybody last year I had to hear, look at you beat the Packers, but it didn't count because Jordan Love was playing. Now all of a sudden Jordan Love's pretty good. It seems like maybe Bryce Perkins really good. You go up against that Chiefs defense, all that. So there it is. There's this week's tiers.
It's an excellent tiers.
Thanks.
And I would like to say I 100% understand that the tiers, the committee's tiers, are not the standings. That being said, the Eagles need to flip spaces with the Dallas Cowboys for 3 reasons. Number 1, it's a better bonanza when it comes to the Eagles. And I understand the Cowboys have the bigger brand, a little bit of flashier storylines. Here are the list of things that the Eagles are better at than the Cowboys. Well, winning, scoring points, gaining yards, converting third downs. What else we got? Red zone scoring, stopping yards, taking away the ball, completion percentage, passer rating. The Eagles are actually better in all of those things than the Cowboys, but they don't quite want Odell Beckham Jr., so they don't get talked about even though they've won double-digit games. Reason number 2, Jalen Hurts. Is he an MVP, or is he underrated, or is he a little bit of both? Jalen versus Dak. Let's just look at the raw numbers. Jalen versus Dak. Oh, well, what do you know? Well, it's Jalen Hurts. Should be firmly in the MVP conversation, getting all the headlines, playing better than Dak. And the passer rating's better. Like, Jalen Hurts just running the ball. No, he's not. Throwing the ball better, too. And finally, this is a little bit of a bonus. Nick Sirianni, odd moment in the Colts game when he went up after beating the Colts, started yelling at the fans. Yeah. Maybe they were Eagles fans trying to fire him up. Maybe it's just the Colts.
He yells at the other team's players a lot, too.
I like that. So he said, this is for Frank Reich. Good leadership. He's like, I roll with Frank Reich. The Eagles players are like, that's good. If he rolled with his old guy, roll with me. Strong leadership from Sirianni. We made fun of him because he was doing tic-tac-toe last year. But already, I'm for the Eagles. Would like to flip-flop him, please.
I wasn't making fun of him for tic-tac-toe. But
paper, rock, scissors, that's what it was.
That's all right. But that paper, rock, scissors, whatever it was. But maybe make fun of him a little bit for needing a stirring comeback against Jeff Saturday and the Colts. That probably wasn't great. Hey, listen, guys, I understand that in September, the Super Bowl winner was the Bills. Mm-hmm. And I told you guys they were a good but not great team. And right now, the Super Bowl winner is the Philadelphia Eagles because there is a zealot-like dedication to the standings across America, which is why the committee exists. The Eagles are a very good team with a dominant running attack. Their defense is banged up. Their passing attack is hit and miss. They're playing their worst football of the season right now when you're supposed to be playing the best football of the season. We're very comfortable with the committee has them right.
Okay. You know what? That's why they call you Mr. Consistency.
That is why. Wait for the Jeff Saturday take.
Okay.
If you want something consistent.
Shut down Aaron Rodgers.
That's
next.
Right.
First things first.
Right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.